let's talk about it. Let's talk about Overwatch 2's Stadium mode. Okay, so Stadium has kind of been marketed to be like the new big thing a lot of creators are talking about. It comes from Overwatch. It's like the big release that a lot of people were saying would be like, oh, this is going to contend with Rivals, a couple other things like that. That's not how I'm viewing Stadium. I think Stadium needs to be viewed as its own kind of thing because it's very different from the traditional model that we're used to here. So let's break it down. Let's talk a little bit about Stadium. Okay, so what do I think about Stadium? Let's start with the good, and I want to preface this by saying I'm going to review this as if it's an alpha or a beta, because to me, that's kind of where it seems like the mode is at. I was very confused as to how it was marketed to me, but there's since been some answers publicly from Aaron about like what it's going to look like. So let's talk about, okay, what was so good? One, the ambiance. Love the ambiance, man. Like, you guys know how much I love the finals. I love the announcer in the back. Like, it makes the world feel really alive, and that really was my favorite part of the finals, was like the style of what it did. A game that's still going strong right now. So you have to wonder if there's inspiration from Blizzard coming from the finals, because like it's good. What people got to understand is good is good. I don't care where it comes from, right? At the end of the day, the customer does not care. To the whole crowd of people who are like, oh, X copied Y, or Y, like it's such a thought. It's such a short-sighted and dangerous way to view the world, because inspiration, like things get made based off inspiration from other things, right? That's a process that we should encourage. It's not something that we should hate on, in my opinion. I think that some of the best pieces of media and entertainment in general have massive inspirations coming from other pieces. So anybody who says that, I think, is very naive. But yeah, dude, the ambiance is great. The announcer's great. The new maps some of them can be kind of cluttered. I wish Clash wasn't in it, to be honest. I think Clash just needs to go. But it's cool. Like, the ambiance is cool. It's a different approach to Overwatch whilst using the Overwatch engine that we haven't really seen before. Like, perks don't come close to the depth that the Stadium characters have. So that's really, really cool. What's another thing they got right? The perks themselves. The unique to Stadium stuff is awesome. Like a perk that lets you ignore defense, right? Or ignore armor, ignore defense. That's Raid Shadow Legends coming out of me. Ignoring 50% of armor as DPS is insane. It's very good on characters like Reaper, right? It's awesome on characters like Reaper. Super, super strong. Some of the other ones, like critical hits, mark enemies, or heal reduction, all of that stuff can be really, really powerful on the right character and the right build, and it kind of is on the player to actually explore those builds. So the depth of the mode, like the actual features and things they added to the limited cast that is in Stadium, like the powers, abilities, and powers, are really, really cool, and they give different ways for people to actually play with their character, which is awesome. That stuff is great. Now, let's move to some of the... Now, let me before I move on to some of the things I didn't like about the mode, or I don't want to say I didn't like, I kind of want to identify what it is. I want to say there's so much substance in those first two things that I don't want to just gloss over them and then move on to like a bunch of things where, like, obviously, like, if you're criticizing something, it lasts much longer in terms of time that you're talking, but the actual volume itself of what is there is massive. There's a lot of stuff there. So I just want to preface that before I get into like some of the things that I was confused about. I think is a better word. Number one was the marketing of it when I got in the game. Like, was it competitive or was it not? That was something when I was recording last week, I could not put my finger on. I was like, okay, I can't tell if this is supposed to be a competitive mode or if it's supposed to just be an arcadey mode, right? That's a build of what Junkenstein's Revenge was. And they've since come out and talked about like enabling crossplay, so it very clearly is not a competitive mode. That kind of answers my question. It's more of a arcadey mode, I guess, which is fine. But if it's more of an arcadey mode, I should be able to swap my character, right? Like, the big problem I ran into was it was 5v5 roll lock, which we'll talk briefly about 5v5. So ultimately, like, when they're on a better comp than we are and I can't swap, it's just an absolute bulldoze, and it's just not fun when that happens. If you pick the wrong thing, you can't fucking switch. And you could say, oh, well, Sam, you can just build your character to do the right thing, and it's like, well, that only goes so far, because I'm still, like, if I'm on Reaper and they're on Cass, ultimately, no matter how much I perk myself out, I'm still playing Reaper, right? I am still on Reaper, and there's a lot of different things I can do to approach the situation differently, but I'm still playing Reaper, right? That might not be what my team needs with our comp, and it might be better for me to actually swap to something else. And if it's an arcade mode, like, why can't I actually swap my character between rounds at least? At least let me, like, swap between rounds if I choose to, or if you lose a round, maybe then you get the option to swap. That would be really nice. I'd like to see the ability to swap down the line. Elephant in the room. Unfortunately, it's 5v5 role queue, which has the exact same problems that 5v5 role queue competitive and quick play have. Super tanks, you could sit here and say, oh, well, Sam, like, you're super as well. You can build... No, it's still the same thing. Like, granted, there are more things that you can do to pierce, for sure. Like, ignore armor, for sure. Critical damage, for sure. But that tank is also getting tankier, too. And I prefer the 6v6 gameplay loop having, like, you know, it's just... I like this genre with 6 players instead of 5. Just my personal preference. If you like 5v5, then you'll love Stadium. Then that's fine. But for me, like, if I want to get my fill of Overwatch, it's definitely going to be in 6v6 open queue with perks. The perks do more than enough for me in terms of, like, a quality update to Overwatch that makes the game worth looking at rather than Stadium itself, even though I love the skill trees and stuff like that. Like, you know, the format and what I'm personally looking for in a hero shooter is more of that competitive 6v6 open queue mode, rather than, you know, a more arcadey mode. If you love Junkenstein's thing that they did last year, you'll love Stadium then. You'll absolutely love it. Okay, moving past the elephant in the room and it being 5v5, which is a real shame, let's talk a little bit more about the limited cast. Obviously, there's a ton of work that goes into all of this that they can nail for all these characters, but at the end of the day, the cast is still limited. It's a hard ask, because the reason why I play a hero shooter, and like Stadium is almost like a deadlock. Like, I have a hard time, and I struggled so much in my review video putting it into what Overwatch and Marvel Rivals are, because it's very, very different. It's almost like it's its own game. So I almost am doing the mode a disservice by making this comparison. So you let me know what you think down in the comments. I want to try to keep myself honest here, because it is different. Like, it's straight, like, format-wise, like, everything. Like, it is very different. But the limited cast size definitely hurts, because at the end of the day, when you're a player, like, why are you playing the hero shooter genre? And it's because of the heroes. And while you can put way more depth into a lot of these characters, ultimately, they still are what they are. It's a hard ask for me to have to drop half of the Overwatch cast to go play this mode when I could swap to other heroes and I have a plethora of options in the normal modes to play. It's almost like you're taking my toys away to get me to play that, so it might limit the potential scope of audience. Or I could go play Marvel Rivals, where I have all of those characters as well. Obviously, as time goes on, that problem should get diminished. And what you could say is, for people who like Stadium, is some people might like more depth on their plate rather than just a wide variety, like a dish that you can go into way more depth with the seasonings, customize what you want. That could be a more unique experience. And if it's in more of an arcade mode instead of a standalone mode, it can just be another one-off experience, I guess you could say, that is a different way to approach and play Overwatch. So, all in all, Sam, where do you rank Stadium? What do you think about this mode? So, is this the big needle mover for Overwatch? Is this really, truly Overwatch 2? What is it, Sam? Is this going to make it take Marvel Rivals head on? It's not going to make the game take Rivals head on. There's not enough there in my mind, but that's not what it's intended to be. Like, here's what I think. I think if you like Overwatch and you enjoy playing Overwatch and you like Overwatch characters and customization, you were looking for more in an ecosystem that you were already a part of, you're going to love Stadium. You're going to absolutely love it, because it's a new way to play the game that you loved, especially because they already have Mercy, Kiriko, and Juno in there, right? Like, the support queue times were so long. So, and that's the bread and butter. Like, you know, like, people can get mad at me for saying this. It's true. The Mercy, Kiri, Juno players are the bread and butter of Overwatch. It's their number one target audience. It's how they make their money, right? From a business standpoint, it makes the most sense to have those characters be in, because I guarantee you that those players are like over half of the revenue that Overwatch makes. Maybe more. Maybe more. It could be more. But from a business standpoint, giving those types of players who keep your doors open in a free-to-play market, like, giving those players more experiences to enjoy their product is what you should do, right? And I'm not trying to limit down what Stadium is to just those characters, obviously, but, you know, Overwatch is reinventing the way what it is to play Overwatch within the Overwatch space. Like, I don't think that Stadium is like it's not like a standalone game. It's an alternative way to play Overwatch in what was salvaged from Overwatch 2, in my opinion. So is it a full-fledged Overwatch 2 release? No, I don't think there's enough there for it to be its own game. But like I said, that's kind of why I'm treating it like an alpha or a beta. I'm curious where it could end up. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, to be clear, but it's just different. It's just different. And I think that these types of modes and these things are very complicated and they're hard to put into words. But I think the work they did on it was solid, to be honest. Like, it's definitely solid. I don't think the experience is for everyone. I think that a lot of players out there, when they play a hero shooter, are looking for a hero shooter. And Stadium, it kind of goes beyond a hero shooter, and it's like an arcade shooter. It's like an arcade like, I don't know. I want to see what it becomes, is the thing. I want to see what it becomes, because it was marketed competitively. It felt like it was being marketed competitively, but it's clearly more of an arcade mode. But you can't swap characters, and each game lasts 20-30 minutes, and like sometimes it's a steamroll. You can't forfeit, you can't leave. So I think it needs to figure out some more of its identity. And it needs some more time in the oven to keep cooking, which is why I say it's like an alpha or a beta to me, because I think from a product standpoint, it needs to figure out what it is. Like, what they actually built clearly will resonate with people, and there's a lot of foundational stuff that's there that you can reformat to achieve specific things, like a more competitive mode or a more arcadey mode. But I think they need to figure out what direction to take Stadium next. So, yeah, I hope people don't take that as me knocking on the mode. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just I think it needs more time in the oven to identify what its true end goal is, or maybe I'm not seeing it and you guys do. So, my verdict on Stadium, if you've left Overwatch and you've come back to me and you said, dude, is Stadium going to be the thing that gets me back into Overwatch? My question to you would be, what is it you're looking for? If you're looking for like a hero shooter with a lot of different toys to play and a lot of options to explore, I still think Marvel Rivals is probably the better answer, just because there's going to be more heroes there. But if you're content with the Overwatch engine, you love that engine, you want a different way to play Overwatch, maybe more casually, get into characters, build your trees, Stadium's definitely something that you could jump into and probably enjoy here and there. But I don't see it, at least right now, with how it's formatted, being like the mainstay long-form mode that makes people want to play hero shooters, because it's not formatted like a hero shooter right now, which is interesting. So I don't know. I think the mode has a lot of potential, but I'm not. It's not the thing that makes me come back and say I'm gonna grind Overwatch because of Stadium. No, it's just not what I personally am looking for. But it absolutely could be something that a lot of people within the Overwatch ecosystem already are going to love and sink a lot of time and hours into. So what do you think about Stadium? Do you guys give it the +1? I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. It's solid. You know, I didn't play much Junkenstein either, to be clear. Like, that's not why I play hero shooters. So, like, if this is a reason why you play hero shooters, that's the beauty of life. My desire for hero shooters does not have to be the same as yours. So we love that. We love that. For me, I'm still enjoying 6v6 open queue if I'm playing Overwatch. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Take care. Much love. Peace out.